special teamer Alele Ford. Mariota flips it over the middle on first down. It's Lowe again, breaking free. Keenan Lowe barrels out near the 40. The senior, known more as a blocker lately, making an impact.
And here comes tempo after a gain like that. Mariota already has him at the line of scrimmage. See how quickly, no substitutions. He can snap it as fast as he'd like.
That was pretty fast. And here's Tyner again. They're testing the midsection of that Buckeye defensive line.
And Ohio State, Luke Fickell, you wonder what kind of adjustments he's going to make in this second series. Tommy Shutt has come in. That's one adjustment. They're trying to rotate some players, want to stay fresh. Rashad Frazier, 17, also into the game. Got to stay fresh for 4 quarters to try to have a chance to stop him.
Second down handoff for Tyner. Good blocking at the edge. And now he's hit at the 45. It'll be 3rd and 3. Eli Apple and Bell on the stop.
Keenan Lowe is a lot like Ohio State's wide receiver Evan Spencer. He is an unselfish player who blocks and is very physical. He had a great block on that play.
First time the Bucks have gotten the Ducks into a 3rd down play. Mariota near side, drops. He would have had first down yardage, but the freshman Nelson could not come up with that dart, and it's 4th down. Here comes a punt.
Yep. It's a stop for Ohio State, but it's a drop. A great read by Mariota. The flat defender went out wide. It opened it up. And look at the young freshman. Have his head looking up, maybe hearing footsteps, trying to make that move before he was able to secure the football.
Ian Wheeler, the freshman for Oregon, to punt. And it's Jalen Marshall who let it go. Ducks try to down it. Good job throwing it back in the field of play by Dior Mathis, the corner on special teams. And the young quarterback pinned back inside the 5 for his second possession. Dior Mathis, Kirk, is a corner, has been in the doghouse, but he makes a big special teams play. College rule, just the ball breaking the plane. That's different than the NFL.
It's not the player, it's the football, and that's a heck of a hustle play where Mathis got down there. Jalen Marshall tried to use that decoy where he chased him off. Mathis bit it for a second and then made a great adjustment to be able to down that football.
And a terrific punt by Wheeler. So this looks familiar for Ohio State fans. Lots of bad field position in that win over Alabama.
No doubt about it.
Jones, the safe play, the keeper. They're at him quickly, though. That was Buckner invading the backfield.
Yeah, this defense is built to stop the run in the interior. They have 3 down linemen. Those linemen do a good job of eating up blocks, and those linebackers are attacking downhill. You essentially have 5 defenders very, very tight in the interior against Ohio State's defense. They're determined to try to stop Elliott from running into the middle of the Ohio State offense.
Jones has thrown 1 pass and won it 4 times. From his end zone. Escapes, barely. He just throws it away. The Ducks' quickness gives offensive lines lots of trouble.
Their quickness, whether they're running or Ohio State is trying to throw, they're getting off of blocks. Look at Armstead, number 9. He gets around his guy. He goes right through Elliott. That's a heck of an effort again by Armstead, 6'8", 290 out of Sacramento, California. He and Buckner are the keys up front for the Ducks.
It's a big ask for a running back to block a 300-pound lineman. Empty backfield here.
3rd and long inside, deep in your own territory.
And motion Elliott in late. Jones shows the big arm and has a first down completion to Corey Smith across the 30.
Now that play took a lot of time to develop, and you'll see one Ohio State receiver off to the right clear out Chris Cisse, and it opened up. It's a levels route where you need that receiver to clear out. Watch 12. He's going to clear out and opens up a nice vacancy underneath, and that's where Corey Smith's able to come up with a big catch.
26 yards. You see the strength of Jones' arm. Much bigger arm than Braxton Miller or J.T. Barrett. Rolls on play action. Fires it far side into traffic. Catch made. Jalen Marshall Well covered by the safety Dargan, but the Buckeyes are moving now.
Yeah, now they're trying to attack downfield. That's where their quarterback, Cardale Jones, feels most comfortable. It's actually pretty good coverage. It's a wheel route from Jalen Marshall. The safety, Dargan's right with him, but he didn't turn around to find the football. Marshall did, and he came up with a catch.
Back-to-back 26-yard gains. Elliott. It's been tough going for the sophomore in the early going.
Go back and look at this last play, that 26-yard gain. It's a wheel route. You have a very talented wide receiver catching that off the back of Dargan. As I said, Dargan never knew the football was in the air. He was with Marshall stride for stride, but he didn't read the eyes of Marshall and get his head turned around.
2nd and 9. Jones pressured again. Strong enough to get away. Loops it for Elliott. A high throw, a dangerous play because Tyson Coleman was closing in.
Boy, Don Pelham is doing a heck of a job when Ohio State is throwing the football. Mixing up the pressures, mixing up the looks, trying to confuse not only the quarterback but also put some pressure on the offensive line. And here he gets pressure from Hardrick, and then he just kind of says, where's my outlet? Oh yeah, over here, and throws it. He's very lucky that Coleman, instead of going for the receiver, he didn't try to step in front of it and catch it.
Another 3rd and long. They only rush 3. Jones tries to get it on the ground, hammered just short of the first down at the 35 by Hardrick. So 4th and 2.
Remember in our meeting when we asked him, what's the key against an 8-man dropping type of defense where they take away a lot of the windows? And he said, Cardale Jones told us, my feet and my check down to my running back. We've seen that in the last 2 passes where he tried to check down to Elliott. This time he tried to run, and it sets up the 4th down.
About 2.5 yards needed. Hot pass. Marshall fighting for it. It's close. Where's that ball? Right on the yellow line. Looks like Ohio State has converted.
Wow, that is really, really close. We'll take a pit. They're going to bring out the chains to make sure.
That pop pass is a play the Buckeyes like to use. If it is dropped, it just falls incomplete.
Just watch how quick Oregon's defense is moving right now. How quickly they're getting off of blocks. I mean, they are attacking the line of scrimmage. Now I know it's 4th and short, but they've been doing it the entire early part of this football game. Armstead has been a difference maker, number 9, early in this game.
First down.
Wow.
Barely.
Half the length of the football. And we asked him in that meeting, you get into these 4th downs at 4-down territory when you're about to get to that 30-yard line, 35-yard line, and he said, hey, we're an aggressive team. That's kind of our nature.
Both sides unafraid to go for 4th downs. So Ohio State's already moved 64 yards in the shadow of their end zone. It's Curtis Samuel, the true freshman, to the right of Jones now. Jones again steps up to avoid pressure, loops it over the head of Samuel, who came out of the backfield. He is not getting much time to think back there.
No, not at all. And again, it's because Don Pelham is doing a great job of mixing up looks. He's blitzing, but he's playing zone behind it. So he's only theoretically rushing 4, and sometimes this case he's rushing 5, but it's affecting the communication along the offensive line. And then you add in the quickness and how quickly they're getting upfield, putting a lot of pressure on that Ohio State offensive line in the passing game.
Elliott breaks free. Ezekiel Elliott gets a block and busts to the end zone. The final 33 yards of a 97-yard Ohio State touchdown drive. And the man who ripped up Bama Off to a slow start here until that run, Kirk.
They had bottled him up for sure, Chris, until that run. The success in the passing game opened that up.
Freshman Sean Nurnberger ties the game at 7. There is a flag down. Hold on, there's a flag on the PAT. The two 26-yard plays to get out of bad field position. The 4th and 2 conversion. And then Elliott's 15th touchdown run this season.
Yay.
Greg Burke's mic breaking it up. They called a hold on Ohio State. I believe he said number 48. So they'll re-kick it.
What did Ohio State need an answer with the way Mariota and Oregon's offense looked in that first drive? And really the only reason they got stopped in the second drive is they dropped the conversion on the throw on 3rd down.
So Nurnberger, who hasn't missed one this year, 83 for 83, a 30-yard PAT. It was Jalen Marshall by the nose of a football, prolonging the drive.
That was the big play. This keeps the drive alive. But watch the block by Nick Vannett, 81. Boom, right there. A trap opened up the middle. And when you give Elliott a little bit of room to get to that second level, he not only has the power, he's got the speed and quickness and great feet to get into the end zone and tie this game up for Ohio State.
Mariota back to work. We're all even in Arlington. This is Nelson. He dropped that pass earlier on 3rd down, tries to get wide. Very tough to do against a fast coverage team like Ohio State, but Nelson did actually get the corner, got to the 17.
The kicker came down there and made the play.
Slight difference in the resume for Cardale Jones. You can't be better than 2-0, but Mariota 36-4, and he's now thrown a touchdown pass in all 41 of his career starts.
Yeah, he's one of those players, one of those athletes. You start to run out of great things to say about him, and he's just been around so long and has done it the right way for so long. And now we got a different feel. Again, this is now Ohio State answer. They have the crowd back into the game, and see how the Ohio State defense does against Marcus here on this drive.
Defense got some rest, and then Ohio State possession. Tyner again. Stiff arm to the face, and another good 1st down game.
Ohio State tried to bring the corner blitz, Eli Apple, to right in front of where the play actually opened up, but he went after Mariota, and it opened up for Freeman to just run right by him, and a good block by the left tackle. Fisher opened it up.
You fake it to Freeman. This is one of the heroes, Evan Bayless of the Rose Bowl. He caught only 4 passes all season until that game, and then he caught 6 against Florida State.
It's a pretty good day. And now with the injury to Allen and, of course, Carrington being out, he's going to have more of a role tonight.
They got the 1st down. Mariota keeps it at the last minute, flipped it to the edge to Bayless, but Tyvis Powell was ready for it.
And again, this is his option. So the dive is taken away. This is his pitch back, the old-fashioned option game, but instead he just throws it down, throws it out to the tight end. In some cases it'll be a wide receiver. They're just trying to, it's a yin and yang game. Are you too many defenders inside? I'll flip it outside. Are you going to give me the inside? I'll take the inside. It's all about the numbers for Oregon.
Freeman hitting the backfield. Adolphus Washington beat the block. It's the first negative play for Oregon. It'll set up 3rd and long.
Luke Fickell's answer is blitz. Raekwon McMillan, the true freshman, comes from the right. You're also going to see Darren Lee, who heads there for the quarterback. Very aggressive on this series from the Ohio State defense, bringing more pressure.
Mariota flips it downfield, has a man wide open who drops it. Dwayne Stanford was backpedaling in Ohio State territory The second third down drop for the Ducks in the quarter.
Yeah, and not only that, Adolphus Washington, this is what that tempo can do to you. He's trying to get off the field. If Mario would have snapped the ball quicker, there would have been 12 defenders on the field for Ohio State. But Stanford, who's from Cincinnati, Ohio, high school teammates with Washington, drops a huge play for the Oregon offense. The second drop tonight on third down.
So Wheeler again. And Jalen Marshall at his 35. Marshall fields it, hit immediately. It spins free. Jalen Marshall still running across midfield, showing the versatility. And he sets up the Buckeyes in plus territory.
Young man was a high school quarterback in Middletown, Ohio. An unbelievable option quarterback. A lot of versatility. He's moved to receiver. This gives you an idea of what he can do with a football in his hands. That's why they try to get him the ball as many times as they can. Get him in space. Get him on special teams. He's physical. He's not just quick. He can pull out of tackles, and that's an example of it right there.
So think about the momentum switch since the Ducks touchdown. The drop by Nelson on third down. Ohio State goes 97 yards, converting a fourth down. And now another huge drop by Stanford on third down. Punt return, setting up Jones at the 46. Elliott. Nice gain inside the 40.
That last drive, they had 3 plays of 25 yards or more. So it was the big play, not just the Elliott touchdown, but we saw a couple throws from Jones, for the first time we've seen him get on track. What was more impressive is the poise that he plays with. He's backed up inside his own 5-yard line and led them on a 10-play, 97-yard touchdown drive.
Jones on 2nd and 4, flips it near side to Michael Thomas. And Thomas knocked down, but not before gaining first down yardage at the 33.
And Cardale Jones takes a page out of Marcus Mariota. He's got 3-on-2. So he gets out of the run game. This is a tag where he can just throw it out there and rely on one of his skill players to be able to pick up yards after the catch. 3 receivers against 2 defenders because Oregon's crowding that line, worried about Elliott. He recognizes it, flips it out there, and picks up a first down.
Michael Thomas, the nephew of Keyshawn Johnson, whom Urban Meyer credits with turning around the sophomore's attitude before this season. Jones, a first down throw, has all day, loops it over the middle downfield into the end zone, broke it up, but a flag comes in. Troy Hill was covering the home run threat for the Buckeyes, Devin Smith.
That's when number 9 is out in the lineup, out wide. Most of his catches are downfield. Oregon knows that. Troy Hill, as soon as the ball is snapped, he's bailing, trying to get deep, knowing that Smith's going to try to go vertical on him. Talking
about a guy, Kirk, who averages almost 28 yards per catch.
Pass interference, defense, number 13, 15-yard penalty. It is first down.
You got the corner from Youngstown, Hill.
Yeah, Hill all over his back. An easy call for the official. The vertical passing game again. It's going to be an ongoing battle tonight because Oregon does not want to give up the easy strike that they've seen Jones do against Wisconsin and Alabama. That time clearly interference on Troy Hill.
Smith, great job boxing out. Might not be a more gifted receiver on deep balls in college football. As Elliott takes the handoff. Barrels free again. Zeke Elliott down near the goal line.
We talked in the open about the biggest key in this game was going to have to be the Ohio State running game and Zeke Elliott. This time he follows a couple of his linemen, Elfine and also Billy Price, and follows them and picks up huge yards.
On 1st and goal, Jones bobbled the snap, now fires far side. Bennett, touchdown Ohio State.
It's the end of this play to make sure he broke the plane. The ball breaks the plane right there. A touchdown and the right call downstairs.
Junior from Westerville, Ohio. Vanette's 5th touchdown reception. Jones came close to losing that snap. So eager to get this play off. So Ohio State Held down in an early 7-0 hole with a 97-yard drive, followed by a 46-yard four-play touchdown drive set up by the punt return and keyed by this pass interference call.
Yeah, this was big, Chris. That's a great observation. He did kind of use his body to keep Hill away from it. The only way Hill could get there is to go through him, which was the interference. But Zeke Elliott right now is starting to get some traction. 6 carries, 62 yards, such balance and vision and power. And then the touchdown. A little bit of another page out of Oregon's book. Bennett man-to-man, but Daniels gets there late, and there's the arm strength coming into play once again from Jones to get it to Bennett quickly to give him time to get to the corner to get the touchdown.
How would the inexperienced quarterback execute in the red zone? It was a big question. So far, so good for Cardale Jones in this offense.
And Chris, I think that's the thing that you have to really step back and be in awe of Cardale Jones. It's not just the numbers that he's putting up. It's very rare. I don't think in my lifetime it's never happened where a guy sits around for 11 or 12 weeks, doesn't take a meaningful snap. He's thrust into a Big Ten championship game, plays well. 3 weeks later, he's playing Alabama and Nick Saban when they have time to get him ready. He plays incredibly well and with such poise for a guy that has not played a lot of football. And again, we're seeing a lot of the similarities from those first 2 games that he's played again tonight.
Clemson to boot it away. They'll typically boot it to that left quarter. This one's so deep there'll be no return. So 2 Ducks drops on 3rd down have been massive. Mariota's only 2 incompletions.
I will say this, being here at AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, you wondered, would it feel like a Super Bowl? Would it feel like a college atmosphere? This definitely feels like a big time event here in the inaugural college football playoff championship.
2-back look. Tyner and Freeman flanking Mariota. This is Tyner. And Tyner near a 1st down. In fact, they will move the chains as we go to Heather.
Chris, after the big 3rd down drop, Dwayne Stanford came to the bench, went back to the players' box, basically hid by the water coolers. Mark Helfrich came over immediately, gave him a high five and said, next play. Now go sit with your teammates, and basically shuttled him over, basically led him by the hand over to where the offense is sitting. Now Dwayne Stanford back out on the field and eager for some redemption after this drop.
He's wearing 85 to honor Pharaoh Brown, the Ducks tight end who had a Grizzly injury. Evan Bayless is filling in for Pharaoh Brown. We talked about the big Rose Bowl he had, and now Kirk He's down as they look at his right ankle.
Yeah, and when he got up, it didn't look good right away. A very, very heavy limp. See a player rolls up on him. Right away he goes down. And because of the loss already to Allen and Carrington, it's the last thing they can afford to do is lose Bayless, who has stepped up for Brown pretty admirably. You mentioned the 6 catches last week in the Rose Bowl.
Already very thin at the tight end position. I know it's next man up, but isn't there a limit to how many of these playmakers Mariota can lose and still keep the offense humming?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to go back to Heather's report about Stanford. I mean,
yeah.
Imagine growing up in the state of Ohio, dreaming to one day play for Ohio State. You go out to Oregon to play for the Ducks, and who are you playing in your national championship game? The team that you grew up watching, with a high school teammates starting on the other side, Adolphus Washington. Nothing would make him happier than make some big plays. He's got to shake that drop, forget about it, and go out there and play football. They need him tonight.
Buckeyes got a chance to get a breather, but Mariota fakes it and gets to the edge. He fooled the Buckeyes defense and then flashed the speed.
Well, Ohio State was in position. Steve Miller went down on the dive, and Eli Apple was there to make the tackle. It's one thing, again, to draw it up. It was perfectly designed by Luke Fickell, but Eli Apple's got to try to make a tackle on the Heisman winner.
Freeman barrels ahead, fights forward to the 45. It'll be 3rd and a yard. Yeah, it doesn't quite look the same on the practice field compared to number 8 in real life, and defense after defense is found out. Final 30 seconds of the first quarter. Freeman and Mariota wasn't ready for the snap. It's a false start for Oregon. They'll make it 3rd and 6.
I think Stevens, the left guard.
False start. Number 54 offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So it becomes a trickier conversion, to say the least.
Well, when they are at 3rd and 3 or less, they're converting 72% of the time. If you can make them have to go a little bit longer like any offense, but really 3rd and 4 or more, only at 42%.
This is the defense that gave Alabama's offense a very tough time on 3rd down in the Sugar Bowl. Mariota has protection, throws into traffic, and it's incomplete. Tyvis Powell broke it up. Byron Marshall wanted a flag. There isn't one.
It's a heck of a play by the safety Powell. Ohio State electing to sit back and play zone, rushing 4, trying to play some zone. They've got some defenders underneath there. Looked like that's the reason Marshall came up frustrated, is he felt that
right arm.
Yeah, the right arm hooked Marshall.
Should have been interference. And so Mariota from the 41 to Tyner to his left. They fake it to him, fire far side, and looks like Bayless is okay. The tight end back in the game makes the catch. Heather?
Yeah, Chris, you were just talking about Bayless. He came out with a right ankle injury. Team doctor Greg Skaggs asked him if it was a high or low sprain. He answered high. Then he said, "Can you walk?" His reply was yes. So head athletic trainer Kevin Stow heavily retaped his ankle, and yes, he'll return.
Tyner takes a shot from Darren Lee. Well, high is the wrong answer to the trainer. If it's a high ankle sprain, it's usually worse than a low ankle sprain, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a national championship. You just tape it up. I got to go out there and play. This offense typically takes advantage of turnovers. 3rd in the nation in points off of turnovers. So when they get the ball, they usually capitalize. They did it last week against Florida State 5 different times.
Yeah, because it's the hardest offense in the country to face on sudden change. Your defense not expecting to go out there. All of a sudden, you're facing Mariota in this blur attack. Mariota saw something, checked to it, fires over the middle, and running free is Byron Marshall down near the 25. That was an adjustment at the line.
It sure was, and a good job of getting to the middle. He comes back to his 3rd or 4th option, comes back to the middle of the Ohio State defense.
Near side, this is Stanford, who had the drop earlier, making the catch, and Lee drops him after a short gain.
And that's just good for Stanford to get his hands back on the football and make a play. You know, there's nothing better than for a receiver after of a tough loss than to be able to get your hands on the ball.
Second, Nate. Mariota fires. Marshall makes the catch and spins out of bounds near the 10.
A wheel route. Stanford cleared out Grant, the corner, and it opened up nicely for Marshall, the former running back, who once they get him the football, he is very, very dangerous after the catch.
1st and goal. You fake it to Tyner, fire it near side. Bayless is hit immediately after a short gain. Powell on the stop.
Last time Mariota moved them into the red zone. It's such a pivotal part of this game for both teams. They didn't have any problem at all executing and coming up with a touchdown.
In the words of play caller Scott Frost, they have a tendency to get cute in the red zone. It's not a typical Chip Kelly era red zone running game, is it?
No, it's not.
Mariota flips it over the head of Bayless, who got caught up in traffic. 3rd down.
Again, this offense is based on deception. Hard play fake, left guards pulling around. There's Scott Frost calling the plays. By the way, we'll show you a little bit later how quickly he does call the plays. But that was another typical Oregon. Hard play fake, left guard pulling around to make the linebackers and safeties think that it's a run. Then he pulled it out trying to get them out of position, but they stayed home and were in good position to be able to make it tough on Mariota to make the throw.
Plays like this can decide a championship game. 3rd and goal. Marshall, they fake it to him. Mariota keeping all the way. Gets the corner, shows the ability to lower the shoulder, but the Buckeyes stop him well short of the goal line. 4th down.
And remember, when you see a play like that, it's usually 4-down territory. They're running that play to potentially set up a better chance at 4th down. Now they're inside at about 4th and 3 to give them a better chance. So don't be surprised by that call on 3rd down, because that play is to set up this play for the potential touchdown.
Conventional wisdom is defied, but the Ducks said they'd play this game like any other. Going for it. Handoff, Tyner. Not going to get there.
Tyvis Powell, the safety who secured the victory a week ago against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl on that last play, that last Hail Mary, came in a hurry along with the middle linebacker Curtis Grant.
Mariota from the 9-yard line gives it to Freeman. Muscled down by Joshua Perry, the junior from Ohio.
Sorry, Glenn. Ohio State in the game against Alabama, you remember they started to put up some yards, but they weren't putting up points. They weren't executing and finishing drives. You can see already 258 yards of offense.
The tempo doesn't work if you're stuffing the running game, and Oregon's going to be forced into another 3rd and medium here. Haven't converted one tonight, Kirk.
And that's the big key coming in. It's not just about Marcus Mariota. It's holding up against the interior in their running game. Joey Bosa that time slid underneath and made a heck of a play there on 2nd down.
This place is loud on 3rd and 5. Ohio State closing in on Mariota, knocks him down. Adolphus Washington, the tackle, got there, combining with the freshman Lee.
This is where Ohio State's defense has changed the most from last year to this year. So creative now on 3rd down. Washington beats his man and gets around the freshman. But how about the pressure? They brought the linebacker Grant and Darren Lee, who has become an enforcer for the Ohio State defense in the latter part of the season, playing with so much more confidence.
44th sack for the Buckeyes defense this year, and Wheeler's in his end zone. Marshall scampers over and makes a fair catch, and Ohio State will start in plus territory at the 49. The Ducks not efficient so far on 3rd down. And the Ducks, kings of cashing takeaways into points, get nothing from those back-to-back fumbles for Ohio State. Jones now backpedaling. Chased by Buckner. And just throws it away.
Well, Oregon recognized empty and brought pressure. That's a check from that Oregon defense and Don Pelham.
It's a big man chasing a big man, too.
Eventually, those two are going to meet tonight at some point, because you're right. Buckner at 6'7", 290, and Jones at 6'5", 250. That's a heck of a collision. But a good adjustment there by Oregon late. Empty, only 5 in to block, and they brought pressure.
Marshall motions in. They hand it to him, but the Ducks invade the backfield, drop him for a 2-yard loss. Danny Mattingly, who's a backup linebacker, helped make the play.
You're right. Mattingly does a good job of shooting through here. He's going to come right here, and he's going to come downhill. Doesn't hesitate at all. Sees it, reads the keys, shoots through that offensive line. Elliott didn't have a chance on that play.
So it's the Ducks defense turn to try to rise up and negate good field position for the Buckeyes, who need 12 on this 3rd down. Jones steps up, fires downfield. Devin Smith is open and makes the catch at the 5.
Lined up on the left side. He's going to come right through here. A heck of an adjustment here by Cardale Jones. You know about him scrambling. Here, he keeps his eyes downfield. He sees Smith getting the separation, and I love that he threw it all the way away from Daniels to allow Smith to run underneath that, and that's a heck of an effort by Devin Smith in concentrating, going up, and making that catch.
Cardale and JT Barrett says the one rule: never underthrow Devin Smith. Always give him a chance to go out and run for the ball. On 1st and goal, quarterback keeps it and gets inside the 5.
Hope he didn't hurt his 27 yard per catch average here. But this is just a good job by a receiver, trusting his quarterback's arm strength, realizing he can make that play. Boy, Daniels came so close to getting a hand on that ball and knocking it away, but the strength of Smith and the concentration allowed him to come up with it.
His only 2 catches against Bama, 47 and 40 yards. That was for 45. Second and goal. Bucks are crowding the line. Jones again keeps it. Barrels forward. Touchdown.
Let's make sure he got across. He follows Zeke Elliott. Yeah, he extended before the knee touch. That's a touchdown.
Great job not letting the knees hit the ground. The elbow is close to the goal line. We'll take a look. The elbow was down before the ball broke the plane. That's what they'll look at.
Rolling on the field was touchdown. Previous play is under further review.
Yeah, I was focused on his knees, Chris. I was checking to see if his knees touched.
They did not. The elbow there when the ball is just a little bit short of the goal line.
This would be a great look.
Dave Kataya is our.
He's down. He's down there, and the ball had not crossed the plane.
Dave, how would you rule on this if you were in the position of the replay official?
Remember one thing here is that hand is not down, but any part of that wrist or arm beyond the hand is down before that ball is short. We're not going to have a touchdown, and we need to take another good look at this to make sure there's indisputable video evidence that that arm is not down.
And Dave, for the viewers, even as his elbow touches the line, that's not breaking the plane. It's all about the football, right?
Right. Now take a look at this shot. You see the elbow on the goal line and his forearm, and look where the ball is.
After review, the runner's elbow hit the ground, and the ball was short of the goal line. It'll be third down at the half foot.
Jones, I think, suspected it. He had strapped up his helmet about 30 seconds ago, ready to go back in. So third down. Ball just a few inches short of the goal line.
Yeah, and it was a good job of having the patience there. He follows the block here. You're going to see the guard come around. He also follows the big running back, Elliott. It's a well-designed play. Just comes up a little bit short. Yeah, I think the officials and I were looking at the knees to see if he was able to get across, but it was the elbow for sure.
You get a bet against the quarterback keeper here. Let the 250-pounder go here.
6'5", 250. Yeah. That's a pretty good call.
Under center. A sneak. Second effort. Spins into the end zone. And Cardale Jones has given the Buckeyes a 2-touchdown lead.
Oregon stopped him initially. I think they knew obviously what was coming, and initially he stopped. But the spin and then that second effort gets him in there for the touchdown.
Ohio State surviving fumbles on their 2 previous drives. Drives 49 yards in 6 plays. And the Ducks, after scoring first, the kings of the quick scoring runs, watch the Buckeyes put up 21 straight.
You got to go back to the play. The big throw by Jones on the move, throwing that ball downfield away from the defender Daniels. A heck of a catch to set up this touchdown. They came back on third down. It didn't count on the second down, but this time Jones takes it in for the touchdown.
They don't have a timeout, so if it's inbounds, they'd have to sprint down and try to spike it. And flip it short again over the middle, and now a trick play as Tyner flipped it back to Marshall, but Bosa knocks him down, and that'll be the final play of the first half. Ohio State ready for most everything in this first half, including that trickery. The majority of fans in here in scarlet and gray on their feet and roaring. Ohio State up 11 at halftime, and they will get the football to begin the second half. AT&T bringing us inside the headset. Let's go down to Tom.
Chris, thank you very much. It's easy to forget your quarterback is making his 3rd start ever. How would you assess his play in the first half?
The difference is, and this is Oregon's deal now. And we got to go really rally him up, hydrate him up, and go play a great second half of football.
How have you been so effective defensively against their pace?
We're tackling. We're tackling, and you look at some of the great plays that they've had on the pass. People aren't tackling, so we just got to. This is it. This is the whole deal right here. How we prepare at second half, adjust the second half.
Good luck, Coach. Appreciate it. Let's go to Heather.
How does Cardale Jones, who Tom mentioned, has shaken off mistakes pretty well in his brief career? How does he handle that one?
Well, that's when, as a play caller, Tom Herman's got to look to see what he's most comfortable with to try to get him back into that rhythm that he was in earlier and his offense was in earlier.
Hogan's boot is a touchback. Cardale Jones and the Buckeyes back to work, but now it's a one-point game. All 4 turnovers in this game have been by Ohio State. There was the fumbled exchange. Jones and Elliott, and Corey Smith was going to have a huge gain down near the 10. He coughed up the ball. And then the 2 turnovers here in the third quarter. The interception out of the hands of Marshall into Mattingly, and that self-fumble, untouched fumble.
Yeah, and again, the last one especially was self-inflicted, but Oregon has been doing this all year. It's who they are. It's what they feed off of. Be very interesting to see how Cardale Jones responds to that last play when he was out on the field.
Elliott cuts it back and plows forward. Nice first down game. Tom, what's the reaction over there to the Buckeyes sidelines?
Chris, you talk about how Cardale Jones will respond. Interesting exchange with him and Urban Meyer along the bench. He came off the field. Meyer asked him what happened. Jones simply said, the ball fell out of my hand. Went, sat back down on the bench, seemed to forget it right away. It seemed Meyer was more dispirited by what happened and lingered in the moment longer than Jones did. We'll see how he responds now. Next series back, Chris.
Tom, this will be the time we'll find out if he's able to put things behind him, as your earlier report. He has that ability to do this.
Elliott has a first down. If the Ducks can't stop number 15, it may not matter as much for Jones.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you do? Here's LeBron watching the game.
He knows. No matter what the sport is, turnovers are killer.
That's right. But
then you get, I say positive. We're still winning the game.
That's right. Always. But, hey, Chris, you talked about what do you do if you're Jones, if you're Tom Herman, how do you settle down? Obviously, you get Elliott established. You try to run the football. Oregon knows that. They want to try to take that away. There's Tom Herman, who'll be off to Houston tomorrow to become the head coach.
Empty backfield and a first down throw. Thomas into Ducks territory at the 45. That was a nice dart from Jones.
It sure was, and it's great spacing. A nice throwing lane here for Jones. Tight end Vanette takes the linebacker with him, just opened it up, made it very easy for Jones to throw in rhythm. One of his favorite targets, as we've seen in recent weeks, Michael Thomas, who's going to go out.
Top of the screen is Devin Smith, who has just that one catch, but it was the big one for 45 yards. Elliott motions out and gets the swing pass. Cannot get away from Eric Dargan.
They motion him out, trying to outflank this Oregon defense, but really good recognition and speed by Eric Dargan, who had a great Rose Bowl game. Coleman trying to get off his block. A poor effort by Devin Smith, but an outstanding job in space against Elliott by Eric Dargan. I really feel that Dargan, Tony Washington, these guys have become leaders for this defense, especially with Ifo Ekpre-Olemu out. Hardrick, Washington, Dargan, Derek Malone, tremendous leadership from some seniors.
Dontre Wilson into the game now. He motions across, but it's Elliott again, exploding up the middle, 10 more yards.
There's that same play. Watch Nick Vanette coming around, picks up the linebacker, Joe Walker. Boom, right there. Elliott gets underneath that block. This is something at Ohio State, it's become their bread and butter tonight. A counter trap where they bring the H-back or the tight end back to pick up a linebacker or a nose guard. That time it was the linebacker Walker, and it's been springing Elliott all night.
Woody Hayes days, 3 yards in a cloud of dust for the Buckeyes. This is about 10 yards and rubber pellets off the field for Elliott. 3rd and 1. Zeke has it again, and he's got another first down inside the 35.
Yeah, but this Oregon defense, they're getting a push on the short yardage situations on 3rd and 4th down. It's been very challenging for the Ohio State offensive line. As good as they've looked on 1st and 2nd down, they get into 3rd and short, and the line of scrimmage is going backwards. That time, that was Elliott's just raw power and effort to pick up that first down.
Curtis Samuel spelling Elliott is behind Jones. Cordell wanted to take a shot downfield. It was covered, so he dumps it down to the freshman who gains 8.
And again, that's what he's been coached to do in this game against this kind of defense. Oregon does a good job of taking away a lot of the receivers downfield, and they want to test your patience. They that time dropped 7 defenders in zone, took away all of his options downfield, so he just checked it down. Remember, the check down and using his feet are his 2 weapons against that type of defense.
So how about, Kirk, the poise and execution for Jones on this drive right off the fumble. There's that push again.
They get into short yardage, and it's a combination of Oregon pinning their ears and shooting gaps and getting off of blocks, and Ohio State not being able to get any footing up there. See that push right there? He's now Pat Elflein, who's on 1st and 10, opening things up. That time, a really good job by Oregon of pushing him backwards. Linebackers are fighting downhill, and the defensive line's holding their spot. There's Buckner out on a crucial 3rd down.
And on one knee, gasping for air. That's what Oregon typically does to an opponent's defensive line. Jones takes off and muscles down for another first down. It's tough to stop a 250-pounder going straight ahead.
Well, they did it. Oregon does a good job of, again, trying to confuse him. Keep an eye on the nose guard. Watch him push and then drop. You see him right there? He's taking away the throw that Cordell Jones wanted to make. So instead of throwing it into his chest, he comes off of it and decides, again, the feet or the check down. This time, it's the feet for the first down.
Not many quarterbacks are overpowering a 310-pound nose guard, though. Valducci got knocked backwards. Jones fires a low throw. It's caught by Marshall.
Billy Price pulling around trying to pick up a block, but these 2 outside linebackers, these backups, Christian French and also Prebo, 86, maybe their best edge pass rusher, doing a pretty good job of mixing up who's coming and who's dropping.
Final minute now of the 3rd quarter as the Buckeyes are getting close to the red zone. So enormous whether or not they get 7 or 3 out of this drive. Elliott cuts it back and bursts down inside the 10, 1st and goal. Another huge game, approaching 200 yards.
And Billy Price, the left guard, and Jeff Hireman, the tight end, pulling around again. And the patience from Zeke Elliott on these runs and the vision are the reason he's able to pop through there. And again, of course, he has outstanding quickness and acceleration for his size.
Overshadowed throughout the Big Ten season by Melvin Gordon and so many other good backs, but this guy has come on very strong in the last half of the season. He's got it again. Elliott! Touchdown, Ohio State on the final play of the quarter.
Plays, 75 yards, 6 minutes and 39 seconds. He follows now the right guard and the tight end. The same exact play, opens it up, and there's Zeke Elliott getting to that 2nd level and showing the strength to get into the end zone.
Nats atone for a couple mistakes as an offense and reclaim some momentum. Number 8 will be down 8 heading to the final quarter in Arlington. Buckeyes back on top by 8 now as we begin the final quarter of the first playoff national championship game, and a third straight 200-yard game for Ezekiel Elliott, the sophomore out of St. Louis.
We were talking at the break there. It's amazing to think that Carlos Hyde, who now plays for the 49ers, was a starting running back and had a huge year last year for Ohio State. 4 offensive linemen, 3 of which started this past weekend in a playoff game.
As rookies.
As rookies. That's what they lost. And Braxton Miller, who went over 1,000 yards rushing. They lost all of that and came into this year, and Zeke Elliott has emerged as one of the greatest individual rushing seasons in Ohio State football history. And that's saying something.
It sure is. Clemson again booting it to that left corner, and this is Nelson at the goal line. Knocked down across the 20. So the Mariota family, younger brother Matt, these folks looking on nervously. A lot of faith in their son and a quarter to work with, but Oregon's defense is the bigger concern for their team right now.
Yeah, you're right. I look at the family and the parents of Marcus, and I think whatever you did, can you pass that on to the rest of us that are trying to parent? Marcus is one of the most quality young men I've ever met.
And Mariota steps up, fires across the middle, caught by Keenan Lowe to the 42-yard line. The emotion shown by Mariota as the first Hawaiian-born Heisman winner. Won a lot of fans that day in New York, didn't he?
He sure did.
Freeman, he struggled. The freshman didn't have a great Rose Bowl and showed some hesitation there, Kurt.
I think Ohio State set the edge to this defense. I really think this drive is a signature moment for Marcus Mariota in the season that he has had, the numbers that he's put up, but now in the national championship in the fourth quarter, down 8. This is an opportunity to really add to his legacy.
And he delivers. Tipped, broke it up beautifully as Lee, the linebacker, prevented a completion to a streaking Stanford.
I think Darren Lee is probably the one player on the Ohio State defense that's improved the most. Often blitzes, they ask him for versatility, sitting back also in coverage.
They play fast on third down, and Mariota delivers. Incomplete. Again, he was trying to work the far sideline to Marshall. Armani Reeves in coverage, fourth down.
That all goes back to that second down play, the play by Darren Lee. Because if you get Oregon to third down and long, they're not built for that. Their system is just not built. They're built on deception and play action. You get them back in 3rd and 10 when you know they're going to throw. It's a completely different situation and very challenging. As good as Mariota is, it's more about the scheme.
Seen a lot more of Elon Wheeler than we usually do in an Oregon game. Hunter moves Marshall over to the 21, takes it on the run, and is dropped right there. And now falls back on Ezekiel Elliott and an Ohio State offense to protect an 8-point lead. Going back a decade, Kirk, Ohio State has been perfect in these situations. 98-0, an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter. This is Jalen Marshall on the end around. Good first down gain. That Ducks defensive line was so active early, but the big guys, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, 290-pounders. Armstead there seem to be wearing down in this game.
Yeah, it's been a battle up front, and you're right. Early in this game, Armstead, who's coming off now, he was dominant the first few series, but he and Buckner with their size, both around 6'7", 6'8", 290, but they have not had that same effect.
Elliott cuts it back, gallops free across the 40, another first down. Ezekiel Elliott has been on a 3-game run. It's in large part while Cardell Jones has been so successful at quarterback. 230, the Sugar Bowl record against the Crimson Tide, that 85-yarder, longest run against a Saban defense ever. And now 215 more, and he could be headed for a 300-yard game.
He could. He's averaging about 9 yards a carry. And that last drive, boy, it was the offensive line and Elliott that really took him down the field.
There's a first down throw and a completion. Thomas tiptoeing, still alive, and now knocked out at the 36. Ducks claim he stepped out near midfield. But the Buckeyes are rolling again.
A nice adjustment. What Ohio State's saying to Oregon is, if you're going to drop a lot of people, we're going to throw the ball underneath.
He skidded to a stop.
He did. He sure did. He stayed in bounds. But instead of trying to always get it downfield, now they're giving something for Oregon to have to be concerned about with the underneath throw. That tightens up the coverage. Then you have a better chance, if you need it, to try to get behind them.
Corey Smith, the receiver, motions back, and they hand it to him, and Smith around the left end. Another explosive play. That last one, 23 yards, Kirk.
At that time, Zeke Elliott blocking.
He's not afraid to do that. He actually has a passion about blocking.
I know. They actually, the coaches, when you talk to him about his greatest strength, they'll say how physical he is without the ball is one of the first things they bring up.
He's got the ball. He's well strung out by the Oregon defense and knocked down after a short gain. 3rd and 4 now. And we'll spot it back. It'll be 5 yards the Buckeyes need here. They can begin to work the clock just a little bit as they try to pound away in the Ducks.
It's still a one-possession game. Big drive for Oregon and their defense to stay in this football game and give Mariota some hope to try to get back in and be in a position to tie the game.
On 3rd down, an empty backfield, and Jones has all kinds of time and delivers to Marshall. First down near the 10.
Two things. The offensive line doing a great job of giving him time. They only rushed 3, which means there's 8. Look how tight those windows are. The patience by Cardale Jones to sit and wait for eventually that window and Marshall to settle down in it perfectly on another 3rd down conversion.
Back in the red zone. So they get 19 yards on that 3rd down play. Elliott still out, and Samuel to the left of Jones. And they give it to the freshman from Brooklyn, who's also a physical runner, down to the 5.
A true freshman who Urban Meyer in camp right away recognized his potential. He feels that he'll be one of the better backs that he's seen in a long, long time. But right now with Elliott, who's only a sophomore, may have to wait his turn.
16 yards per carry in high school for Curtis Samuel. But yeah, Zeke's back in there in 2nd and 5. Yeah, not the cleanest snap by Jones, but Elliott able to dive forward for a 1st and goal, or it's close. Let's see where they spot it here.
Yeah. Well, that's Ohio State's 34th play in the 2nd half. Oregon has run 10 in the 2nd half.
Hit them hard and see how they fall. Never let that team get the ball. Right out of the fight song, Kirk. That's the game plan.
That's the offense. That's what we're watching.
And 1st and goal. Elliott again barrels in.
And it's Elliott behind that offensive line. Gets in for another touchdown. His 3rd of the night.
76-yard touchdown drive in 9 plays. After the Ducks and Mariota had closed it to a 1-point game. Back-to-back long touchdown marches by Ohio State. Lead back to 15 with 9:44 to play.
This is Urban Meyer trying to get the kickoff coverage team ready to go.
Aren't they always ready to go?
Yeah,
his pride and joy.
Yeah, look at him, though.
You ever seen anybody practice with more detail, situations, and pick up double?
No. Boy, he prides himself in special teams, always has.
Red zone, Kirk, you said it was going to be perhaps the deciding factor. Buckeyes, 4 trips, 4 touchdowns. Ducks, 4 trips, 1 touchdown. 2 field goals and a loss of downs. Nelson fakes it to Marshall, and he faked at Ohio State. A flag comes in as the freshman is still running. So Ohio State bought the fake handoff to Marshall, but a flag may nullify the big return. Urban should have told him, look out for that. Flag was way back at the 20-yard line.
It was thrown where it's typically a...
During the return, holding number 33 of the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
You know, if you're Marcus Mariota and you're Oregon, with the potential of what their offense can do, we mentioned typically they'll score in a lot of times under 2 minutes, under 3 minutes. So you're down 15, 2 possessions, 9:32 to go. You got a quarterback that's as good as we've seen in a long time, even though it hasn't been their night, especially up front. They've got to try to still believe a quick strike gets him right back in this game.
Instead, they throw it short here to Bayless. Of course, it was the 70-yard touchdown pass to Byron Marshall, their first play of the third quarter, that changed the tone.
They have been on the sidelines most of this second half. Ohio State not only moving the ball, but possessing the ball.
Flag down before the snap.
False start. Players were not set. Offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Oregon trying to do something they have not done in a long time. Come from 2 touchdowns plus down in the fourth quarter. It's been more than a decade since that happened.
It's probably been more than a decade that they've been down a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
At least in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
It's Tyner turning the corner. They do get a first down. Now they'll try to use tempo.
Yeah, now this is where they've got to try to. Their rhythm is about getting the first down and then trying to find a matchup, trying to exploit a matchup, whether it's in the running game or trying to get the ball outside. Ohio State trying not to give up the big one.
Mariota throws complete. Nope. Incomplete. Looking on the far side, and Mariota was chased by Bosa and is down after the play. Joey Bosa, the sophomore sack specialist there.
Chris,
13.5 in the season. Didn't get to Mariota before the throw.
No, he got after him after the throw, and it came down on top of him with a lot of weight, a lot of momentum. Right on his shoulder, his throwing shoulder. And you can hear the Oregon offensive line right now. They're not happy with Joey Bosa. There are a few of them right now talking to Bosa.
No flag thrown. Bosa just after the throw made.
The reason there's a flag out there is because the offensive line was getting after Joey Bosa, and there was some back and forth going on between Oregon and Ohio State.
So Jeff Locke,
after the play,
sophomore,
unsportsmanlike conduct, number 75 of the offense. Penalty being forced half the distance to the goal. It will be second down.
That's Jake Fisher, the senior left tackle, trying to stick up for his quarterback, but a costly 15 yards.
Saw Joey Bosa say, "I'm playing football." He's talking right now to Cameron Hunt, number 78.
If you nothing wrong with the hit between 2 very high-profile players?
In super slow motion. It was, it's a play where he's following through, he's chasing him, he puts his body on him, and he brings him down. It was not a deliberate late hit.
2nd and 22 after the penalty, and here's Jeff Locke, who's taking very, very few, if any, meaningful snaps in his career, and they misfire again.
False start. Number 73 offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Ducks moving backwards and unraveling a bit here.
And Marcus is throwing, trying to test that shoulder to see if he can get back out there.
Another look at the hit. Ball out. Bosa.
It's the follow through.
Drove him down pretty good.
Yeah, but he was on top of his, on top of it, and the momentum of both Mariota and Bosa made it look a lot worse.
Lockie, meanwhile, thrust into duty in his end zone, scrambles out, throws over the middle and incomplete. Raekwon McMillan was after him. Ducks with 4 penalties, including the one on the return, face 3rd and 27 now.
Yeah, Lockie, who doesn't have a lot of experience. It's the freshman McMillan coming in. Well, he's attempted 27 passes. Mariota back in, but now 3rd and forever.
From his end zone, Mariota is complete, but Stanford is short of the first down. Did they gain enough that Elfrich is going to go for it here? Down 15. 8:15 to go.
Well, he's sending out the punt team. Surprised me, to be honest. I mean, I think at this point, 8 minutes down, 15 points.
Can't stop Elliott.
Yeah, your defense is struggling. Ohio State's going to run the football.
This could be a fake. Now they shift that out there. Lockie is still in the game. The backup quarterback was in the punter's position after the shift, and the Buckeyes call timeout. Spotted over there by Meyer.
Yeah, Urban Meyer said, call quick timeout. With Lockie out there, you always have a chance to try to make something happen.
As much as he hates to do it, Mark Helfrich will apparently give the ball back to this Ohio State offense. After Urban Meyer sniffed out the potential fake, the punter Wheeler is back there. Fair catch made by Marshall at the 38. And Lloyd makes the fair catch at the 15-yard line. 4:17 to play. Ducks down 15. Some people thought this Ohio State team might be a year away. They were 40-1 long shots in Vegas to win this title after Braxton Miller was injured preseason. Mariota, as a flag comes out, he spins free, fires to Stanford, who made a great one-handed grab on the sidelines, likely to come back, but a wonderful grab by the guy who had to drop early in the game.
Yeah, great catch. Right tackle Crosby on the hold, but
number 73 offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That was a heck of a catch.
Kirk, we thought with the difference in the BCS era, the shorter layoff, rust wouldn't be as big of a factor. We thought wear and tear, emotional and physical wear and tear, might be a real factor in this game. You take another look at the one-handed snag by Stanford. And I thought Ohio State burning a lot more emotional and physical fuel in their semifinal game against Bama. It might come into play, but they have dug deep tonight. No sign of it, really. Mariota trying to escape. Slides down across the 15.
I think that's a fair point. I think they were really on a mission to play with a chip on their shoulder against Alabama. They had heard so much about the SEC and Alabama and Nick Saban that when they won, they had that breakthrough moment. It was very euphoric for them. It's been impressive to see them get back down to earth 11 days later.
I was in Columbus last week. I just had my doubts that they could go 60 minutes and have a full fuel tank. But yeah, I think they have. Huge blow delivered on Tyner over there.
I think a lot of people have looked at Ohio State and look at them as a big, slow, methodical team. If you've watched them play the last few weeks against teams that have a perception of being fast, Grant lowering the boom there on Tyner, I think they've not only looked good, they look very, very athletic.
3rd and 11. Mariota far side. Another pass out of a Duck receiver's hands. That was Stanford who just made the tough one that was nullified by penalty. Duran Grant defending again. 4th and 11. Ducks clearly have to make their final stand right here. Mariota, high throw incomplete. A defense sent out on the field after 4 turnovers by the Ohio State offense has limited the Ducks to 20 points. An offense that had scored 42 at least in all 9 of their wins since the Arizona loss. What a job by those guys right there.
No doubt about it. The defensive line, a big night. They knew they'd be tested. They knew they'd be challenged against the tempo. Great job by Luke Fickell, Chris Ash, rotating guys early in the game to try to maintain their strength, their agility, durability for 4 quarters. I think that defensive line was the difference on the Ohio State defense throughout the game.
You take over at the 14, trying to punctuate this victory. Safe play, and Jones stopped for a short gain. Ford post-game show after the game. Gang will jump in, analyze this. No doubt we'll hear from the principals as Urban Meyer is closing in on his 3rd national title. 2 in Florida, once beating the Buckeyes, once beating Oklahoma. And now Meyer concerned about the play clock. Why it wasn't reset. He says he's calmed down a bit, far less intense than when he won those titles at Florida.
Chris, this is a good time to just one final time about Cardale Jones. Just again, I think it's unprecedented in this sport to do what he has done, to win the backup job to Braxton Miller out of spring, to then lose the backup job in fall camp. Braxton Miller goes down. JT Barrett emerges as a star. That's tough, man. That is a very hard thing to do, to see. You know, you're happy for a JT Barrett, a buddy of yours. You're disappointed and discouraged. It's hard to continue to prep. It's hard to keep your head in it. He clearly has gotten better as the year has gone on, and when his number was called, he steps up against Wisconsin in a Big Ten championship game, Alabama last week, and now this biggest stage in a national championship game. And not only the way he's played, it's as if he's been there for a couple years with the poise he plays with.
Elliott barrels forward. Never seen a story like this in college football history. And I said it, there's no other team but Ohio State could lose 2 quarterbacks and have a guy this gifted to step in, and apparently this ready for his big moment.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we should say that Ohio State's not here without JT Barrett.
No way.
Braxton Miller goes down with an injury. They lose to Virginia Tech. They give up 7 sacks. It's about as bad as it could be week 2. And they pick up the pieces. Ed Warner gets the offensive line in position to get better. Zeke Elliott emerges, and JT Barrett became a superstar and a great leader for this team.
Elliott one more time, stretching for the first down marker. Should be 1st and goal.
Also need to say about Marcus Mariota, all the years of following college football, maybe my most favorite player that I've had a chance to cover. Just a class act, does it the right way, and has meant so much to the Oregon Ducks and just the last 3 years, the way he's led them in the 41 starts that he's had. And obviously his skill set is unique and special, but it's his grace to me that really separated him from any other player I've really ever covered.
Perfectly said. Wonderful ambassador for his home state of Hawaii, as he said at the Heisman ceremony, for the entire Polynesian community, and obviously for Oregon. They are short by a few inches. It is 4th down. And Kirk, we think, and everybody else does, that he's played his final game for the Ducks. This is where he began his career. Didn't play, but he was dressed when Oregon lost to LSU here in what was eventually his redshirt season. And his career will end with disappointment, but did not tarnish the legacy.
Not at all.
Jones under center on 4th down. And they apparently have drawn the Ducks offside. Miscues were a part of this game for Oregon throughout. They didn't have the turnovers, but some crucial penalties and drop passes.
Offside. Defense contacted the neutral zone.
That's one of those.
Half the distance to the goal.
It's one of those
down.
where you save it for a certain point in the game and go hard count, get him to jump. Also need to mention the job that not just Urban Meyer has done, but his staff. Luke Fickell was under fire last year. I mean, under fire for the way his defense played at the end of the year against Michigan and Clemson. They brought in Chris Ash, the two of them and the defensive staff. They have faced the three Heisman finalists in 3 straight games, and they've beaten all 3 of them.
First and goal, Elliott. Twisting, fighting, didn't get there. Fickell coaches the linebackers as well, Kirk, one of the most improved units on this defense. They've really struggled in recent years, but not this group this year.
No, not at all. He's a former Ohio State player. He started 4 years at nose guard. So I don't think anybody believes Scarlet and Gray more than Luke Fickell. So I'm sure it's a big night for him and a big year for him. You can see he's usually tries to be very calm, but right now he's letting some of his emotions out. Probably been pinned up for over 12 months.
It's the Buckeyes who've run off 83 plays, and as you see, DeForest Buckner, the stud defensive end for Oregon, limping off the field. They just wore down that group up front, beat them up, and Elliott had lots of room to run. Another career high, 245 yards. See if they let him pay it off with another touchdown here. You could run the play clock way down if they want to. Elliott dodged the eye of this national championship win. OH, and they'll fill in the rest.
No doubt about it.
Wow. What a 3-game run for this team, for this quarterback,
and for that running back. 4th touchdown of the night. And that offensive line and Ed Warner, I just cannot believe that group and the way they improved. That is remarkable.
A year away? No, I don't think so. Ohio State will be the first champs of this new era. Urban Meyer will win his 3rd. Run those championships. Cardale Jones has a great smile.
No doubt about it.
What a journey from the very, very dangerous streets in Cleveland. Pretty incredible 2 months. A new father. He's got a 2-month-old daughter. He's got a Big Ten championship, and he's going to have a national championship. This was a 1-point game, 21-20, and Jones had that disastrous fumble. The Ducks seem to have momentum. 2 long touchdown drives by Ohio State to reestablish control here. Evan Smith, just 1 catch, but it was a big one.
There's a little bit of a party going on right now at High Street, if you're wondering about that.
There are alums all over the world. There's parties all over the world.
On that campus right now, they're a little giddy.
As the kickoff comes down, Meyer not able to escape. the Gatorade bath over there. Six and 7 is Ohio State's one-loss record the year before Urban Meyer took over.
Sanctions the first year. 12-0, couldn't go to the postseason.
And for Mark Helfrich, just the 4th loss in his 2-year career. Ducks will come short for a 2nd time at the ultimate hurdle. Close loss to Auburn. A more lopsided loss here. It'll be a challenge for that team and that man with Marcus Mariota, we presume, moving on big time.
Yep. They got a lot of guys back except at that spot.
Mariota to Marshall. And he's knocked down. It was Marshall who made that electrifying 70-yard catch that sparked the Ducks rally. But Ohio State always had the answer, and usually it was number 15.
We knew coming in he was going to be the key. Again, because of the way Oregon plays defensively, they put so much of an emphasis on playing zone that you just knew that Elliott would have opportunities and the line would be able to open up some running lanes for him, and it ended up proving itself out really these last 3 games now.
Keenan Lowe can't come up with that low throw. And we're down to 8 seconds.
Shelly Meyer, Urban's wife, giving Elliott a well-deserved hug.
Never would have had a chance into the old system to show how good a football team they are. What a year for the Big Ten. We've all beaten up the Big Ten, and then Jim Delaney said there's been reason to. What a strong last month for this conference.
Yeah, January 1st
for these guys.
Yep.
Mariota escapes. This will be the final play of the game. Heaves it, and it's not fitting. It ends with an interception. And the Ohio State Buckeyes are the first national champions of the playoff era. Still shooting the confetti into the air. And in this blizzard, the Buckeyes are national champions. Urban Meyer for a 3rd time to Tom Rinaldi.
Chris, thank you very much. Urban, you labeled your pursuit of the championship the chase. Tonight, where's it taking you?
The chase is complete. It's done. It's over. They accepted their final mission, their final assignment, and their final directive, and they did it. That was our whole mantra this entire last couple weeks. Job well done, and we're very grateful. Thanks.
We tried to chronicle it, but how would you describe what this team overcame this season?
One of the great stories in college football history of closeness, of team, of selflessness and strain. And this will go down as one of the great stories in college football history.
How do you define what Ezekiel Elliott and Cardale Jones gave you tonight?
And our defense. Our defense taught to slow that guy down. That guy is one of the best players in America, and we tackled well. We had 4 turnovers, and we still have a 22-point win. That's a heck of a football team. We're in scarlet and gray.
What does the moment mean to you?
It's a life changer, man. I'm just so happy. I want to share with the guys I love, and I love these guys.
Congratulations, Urban. You earned it.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks to a very young quarterback who's with Heather Cox.
Chris, thank you so much. Cardale, congratulations. We just heard your head coach, Urban Meyer, talk about the 2-year chase for a championship. Now that it's finally here, is it as good as you imagined it would be?
It's even better. You know, this is still an unreal feeling right now. I'm pretty sure it'll sink in when we get back to the locker room, but I'm glad we can do it for the seniors. You know, these guys have never won a bowl game, never won a championship in their 4 years been here. So, I mean, this game was definitely for the seniors.
Hard to imagine this is just your third start. All your teammates say you have ice running through your vein. How mentally did you keep it from this moment getting too big?
I mean, just having faith in my teammates. You know, I knew I didn't have to do too much going into this game, even though I had a couple of stupid turnovers. But, you know, keeping faith in my teammates, keeping faith in my defense, and we got it done.
And what an amazing season to think you started as a third-string quarterback, had a baby daughter, Chloe, along the way, then became the starting quarterback of the national championship team. How would you describe this journey?
I mean, like you said, it's a dream come true, but it's still an unreal feeling, you know. Looking at all this confetti fall. And,
This is a father. Come here.
And all my teammates play.
I love you, son. I love you, baby.
Like I said, it's just an unreal feeling, man.
I can only imagine. One last question for you. LeBron James came up to you moments ago. What was his message?
Basically, just you know, a way to do it for the home time. You know, this is something that Cleveland can hang their hats on for another year, and we need to get right back at it.
Congratulations,
Thank
Cardell.
you.
Let's head over to Tom Rinaldi.
Heather, thank you very much. Alongside Ezekiel Elliott, you were staring up at the confetti drifting down, and I could see it on your face. What's going through you?
This is just a surreal moment. We finally did it. This is why we all came here to compete and win national championships, and we did it. It's our dream. It came true. And like just all the stuff that we went through to get here, it's just crazy. It doesn't feel real.
You were overshadowed for a lot of the season by other backs in the Big Ten. What was the turning point in these performances these last 3 games?
Just the offense just started clicking so well, and the line just stepped up. And they've had a great last 3 games. I mean, none of this would be possible without them. They're grinders, and they deserve everything that we've accomplished.
Ezekiel from St. Louis, I know your dad wanted you to go to Missouri. Mom went there. You chose Ohio State. How do you evaluate that decision right now?
Oh, man, go Bucks. That's all I got to say.
Congratulations, Zeke.
Thank you. Go Bucks.
Chris.
He says it doesn't seem real. In 12 amazing days, the Buckeyes go down to the Superdome and knock out big bad Bama from the SEC, and then come in here and smother Marcus Mariota and the Ducks offense, winning it 42-20, the first champions of the playoff era. We'll be back with more on the Ford postgame show right after these messages. Time now to hand out the hardware on a very big stage at center field. We go to John Saunders.
Well, Chris, not exactly big enough to get the entire team on this stage here. It's a little pandemonium. First, congratulations to the Oregon Ducks on a great season. And with me now to present the championship trophy of the College Football Playoff. The inaugural is Bill Hancock, Executive Director of the College Football Playoff. Bill.
Thank you, John. First, I want to congratulate both of these fine teams for a great effort tonight and all during the season. And now on behalf of the conferences and schools that manage this awesome new event, it's my honor to present the first College Football Playoff National Championship trophy to Coach Urban Meyer and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Urban, congratulations once again. You're third, but you're first with the Ohio State Buckeyes. What do you have to say to the faithful who have come here to this great stadium to watch you guys win a championship?
Well, we play football for a lot of reasons. We play it for the great state of Ohio. We play it for an incredible university, The Ohio State University. But most importantly, we play it for each other. This is one of the closest teams in college football history. We play it for each other.
They say you never forget your first. Well, this is your third, but it's the first of a college football playoff. Does that make it that much more sweet to you?
It sure does, and I can't imagine a better group of people to share this with. It's college football history. Our hats off to the College Football Playoff Committee. Everything was so first class, and these guys can know that for the rest of their lives, they're part of history, winning the first college football playoff national title.
You're on record earlier this season as saying that you thought this team, because it was so young, was maybe about a year away from winning a national championship. You're here a little bit early, so what does that mean for the next coming year?
Well, we're going to enjoy this one, but they're going to get a mission assignment here pretty soon. Let's get back here again next year.
It also says something about the young men who you say is family right now and how they've been able to come together, 3 different quarterbacks, and they still never backed off or fell from a challenge. It says a lot about what you've been able to do with these kids.
You know, the great Bill Parcells made a quote on Champions Day as we shared it together as a team. And he said, once you win a championship, it's like a blood transfer. You're forever related, you're forever family, and this team's forever family.
Urban, congratulations on another national championship for Ohio State. Now it's time for the offensive player of the game. The same thing happened at the Sugar Bowl. Everybody announced you before I got a chance to. Ezekiel Elliott, another record, the championship record behind this offensive line that early on in the game looked like they were going to have a bit of a struggle, but then opened up big for you.
Man, the way the offensive line has showed up towards the end of the season has just been incredible. They're just unstoppable. They just go out there and impose their will on people, and they're the heartbeat of our team. None of this would be possible without them, so, you know, shout out to the Slavs, baby.
You know, everybody knows that Cardell Jones is just making his 3rd start and did another tremendous job. But what do you have to say about the guys who came before him, and Braxton Miller and J.T. Barrett, who are a big part of this championship as well?
They set the standard. They set the standard that Cardell had to live up to, and he did a great job. And the next man up mentality, Cardell came out, he made plays when he needed to, and he led us to this victory.
As I said with Coach, you're a young team. You're just a sophomore. So what's ahead for Ezekiel Elliott and Ohio State Buckeyes?
I mean, right now we're just going to celebrate this win, but some of my buddies said they already started the offseason, so we got to get back to work soon so we can be back here next year.
All right, congratulations. Now the defensive player of the game, Tyvis Powell. You guys had to go against a Heisman Trophy winner, and he still threw over 300 yards, but he was pretty well contained. Marcus Mariota, a typical tie to contain, but you guys seemed able to do just that.
I just got to say thank you to the coaching staff. They came up with a great plan. Everybody knew this was the seniors' last game. We would just go out here and execute, and that's what we did. We found a way to get it done.
It's a high-powered offense. They move quickly. They don't give you guys much time to take a breather, maybe about 15 seconds. Was that difficult to adjust to at first?
No, I would say that our preparation and practice got us prepared really well for it, and that tempo thing really wasn't a big deal for us.
Coach is saying he wants to celebrate, and
I know, right?
he wants to get it on, so I'll let you go. Guys,
shout out to D. Lee.
The celebration is on here. Congratulations to the Ohio State Buckeyes on another championship.
Shout out to VBA Randy.
Go Bucks, baby. Back to Chris Fowler, I guess.
As the shout-outs continue down there, Ohio State will be given its mission assignment for next year very soon by Urban Meyer, but not before they enjoy this national championship. Back for more post-game coverage from Arlington right after this. Cardale Jones completes an incredible 3-game journey that we may never see in college football again. The sophomore from Cleveland, Big Ten championship game, Sugar Bowl against Alabama, national championship game against Oregon. And the first action that he ever really saw in his career, Kirk. And for every kid as a second stringer or a third stringer in any sport, wondering, will I ever get a chance? Should I try something else or go somewhere else? And how will I perform if I ever do get that chance? Remember the story of Cardale Jones and this fairy tale.
It is. It's unprecedented. Again, we talked throughout the broadcast. It's just something we've never seen. For him to step in late in the year like that without taking a lot of snaps, he'll forever be remembered for these 3 games, this sequence of games that he's been able to play in. But Zeke Elliott, equally impressive in these 3 games when his team really needed him. The combination of the vertical passing threat and that powerful running game proved to be too much for Wisconsin, Alabama, and now Oregon tonight as the Buckeyes win another national championship.
And with a very young team, Ohio State not going anywhere. Next year's championship game is in Glendale, Arizona. Ohio State would have to be near the top of the list. And what a fascinating conversation and competition in the offseason for that quarterback position. Wow.
Yeah, you imagine it's spring ball. J.T. Barrett may still be out. Braxton Miller still there. And now you have Cardale Jones, who's won these 3 games. It'll be an interesting spring for Ohio State and by the time they get to next season.
The brilliant career for Marcus Mariota comes up short in the championship game. We certainly wish him the best at the next level. It wasn't fitting that a career ended at college with that interception at the end. He gave it his go. Not enough help tonight and too much Ohio State. Partner, it's been a great run this year. We finished where we began in the opening game. It's been a great ride. Thanks to all of our tremendous, talented, dedicated crew bringing you these games, this great coverage all year long. Bill Bonnell, the producer, Derek Mobley, the director, the help in the booth here from Darren Brown, Ohio State graduate, Mike Black, Mark Amento, Dave Kataya, and our entire family here of dedicated, talented production folks.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a year. Thanks to you, Chris, coming in. And we had a great season and a lot of fun here with the first ever playoff, with exciting Rose Bowl, and what a culmination of the season tonight here at the National Championship.
As we said at the top, we've waited a long, long time for this era in college football, for teams to have a chance to settle it on the field, as Ohio State and Oregon did tonight, a matchup we wouldn't have had under the old system. And Ohio State, a game that had more drama than the final score might indicate, pulled away late and physically closed out the Oregon Ducks. 42-20 is the final in Arlington. In the ultimate team sport, there are plenty of heroes in scarlet and gray, but that quarterback and that coach, principal among them. Again, plenty of post-game coverage coming up. Kirk will join the gang on SportsCenter. For Tom Rinaldi, Heather Cox, Kirk, and our entire crew, I'm Chris Fowler. Buckeyes win it in Arlington.